One of the biggest problems for YouTube creators is the dreaded copyright strike. If you get one, you're basically screwed. You can try to fight it, and you may win, but there's nothing to stop it from happening again, including YouTube acknowledging that there wasn't any copyright infringement. That's right, YouTube will sometimes clear a video only to allow it to be struck again for the thing that they already cleared. And nowhere does this happen more often than with music. I'm sure everyone expects some kind of strike when using an entire song, but YouTube's algorithm will flag even the smallest use of a song, from a couple of seconds of the actual song to you playing or singing parts yourself to, as Rick Beato discovers every month, playing the chord progression. I'm not kidding. Every month he makes a video about how one of his videos is pulled or blocked, and it gets dumber each time. He's been flagged for playing 3 seconds of a song. He's been flagged for playing the opening chords of a song. Not in time or even in order, mind you, just playing the chords. But my personal favorite was him getting flagged for playing a chord progression. This is just the order of the notes in a scale arranged in a way to make them sound musical. He played the chord progression of a song. I don't even think it was in the right key, mentioned the name of the song, and got blocked. This stuff pisses him off, and it's understandable because he's teaching people how to play music, and it's easier to use music people know. This would clearly fall under fair use under Section 107 of the United States Copyright Act, but YouTube doesn't care. The algorithm can't tell the difference, and the record labels couldn't care less. That's the weirdest part about this, because it seems like a lot of musicians Beato knows, having been a producer, are fine with him using their music to teach people. I mean, he just did a video with Seal who thanked him for doing this kind of stuff, but the labels don't seem to care at all, so YouTube flags, demonetizes, blocks, or removes content. The process is so broken that musicians have had their own content flagged on their behalf. This happened to Red Chill and Mary Spender about a year or two ago. YouTube flagged their videos of them playing their own music. I will repeat that, because I know your brain just spasmed. YouTube copyright struck a musician for playing their own music. So if the copyright system in YouTube is so broken that it flags clear examples of fair use and clear examples of people using their own music, what chance do the rest of us have if we want to use a snippet of a song as an intro or as an ad-lib or to promote the music we want to get people to buy? A lot of YouTube creators use portions of a song the way they'd be using TV or film, only to have their video struck, blocked, or removed, even when it's just a tiny portion of the video. On one hand, I understand the reason for doing this because the musicians didn't agree to have their music used, so to add it in as a background track for a video or as an intro or outro does seem unfair. They should be compensated for that. On the other hand, if someone used a fraction of the song, I don't see why the entire video should be claimed, or why the usage shouldn't be considered in context, like when Razorfist does his Metal Mythos videos. Those are obviously promotional, meant to get people to buy the albums, and you're gonna flag it? Do you not want people to buy the albums? Because that's how it's coming across. So YouTube apparently is trying to find a solution to this, and they put out a survey about it, and I thought I'd go over it because their solution still finds ways to thoroughly fuck everyone. The first option is called the marketplace, where creators can license a song for a video. Just the one video though. Creators would have to pay an upfront fee or pay from the video's earnings. Now this sounds like a good idea, notwithstanding someone wanting to use a song as an intro or an outro, because then they'd have to pay every time. But there's a bigger problem, and I'm just going to read off the options and let's see if you can tell where the problem lies. According to YouTube, the options will be, quote, $5 for very unlikely to be recognized music, library music, ambient sounds, $10 for somewhat unlikely to be recognized music, niche music, $20 for neither likely or unlikely to be recognized music, indie music, $50 for somewhat likely to be recognized music, older pop music, $100 for very likely to be recognized music, recent pop music, and $500 for extremely likely to be recognized music, recent chart toppers. Do you see the problem? Who gets to define these categories? What counts as niche? What counts as recent? What counts as indie or older music? Something could be niche in a certain part of the world but popular somewhere else. Like if I took a Hikaru Utada song, would that count as a recent chart topper since she tops the charts in Japan? Or niche since you'd have to be into Japanese music to even know who she is? What if I took an old chart topper, like something from Metallica? You mean I could just pay $50 to use Master of Puppets, but if I wanted to use Monero by Lil Nas X, I'd have to cough up $500? I can get 10 solid 80s songs for the price of one shitty current song? Do musicians have any say in this? Do they get to set the prices at all, or do they just get the payout? This seems fair at first glance, except the rates look arbitrary and don't reflect on the popularity of the music itself, meaning older songs or foreign artists will get gypped along with lesser known artists whose music apparently ain't worth more than $20. I mean, sure, the cheaper license fee would get more people to use that music, but what a douchey thing to do. Just because someone isn't well known doesn't mean their music isn't worth anything. It also doesn't mention recent music that didn't chart. Where would that fall since it's not really indie music? Someone like the band Starset really doesn't fit this model. I guess that explains the second option, which is to share your video revenue with the copyright owners. YouTube does this now. For the video where I use the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme, I got the option to share half the revenue with the copyright owner, which is fair since I used the song for the whole video. But YouTube's new suggestion? Not so fair. For the second option, if a YouTube creator uses 30 seconds or less of a song, they'll get 30% of the revenue instead of none. I will repeat that because I know you think you didn't hear it right, but you did. If a YouTube creator uses 30 seconds or less of a song, they get 30% of the revenue for that video. The remaining 70% goes to the copyright owners of the song. How in the world is that fair? The average YouTube video is about 10 minutes long. The average song is about 4 minutes long. So if someone used 10 seconds of a song, that's about 4% of the song being used in 2% of the video, and somehow the song copyright owner is entitled to 70% of the revenue from the video? And it gets worse. If you decide to use more than 30 seconds, say 30.5 seconds, then you'll only get 15% of the revenue. The other 85% goes to the owner of the song. Again, how is that fair? The bulk of the video doesn't use the song, so how can you possibly claim the copyright owner deserves most of the revenue? And all that you see here is all that YouTube said about this idea, so there's no consideration for the length of the video in question. So if I did a 30-minute long video and used 40 seconds of a song, I would lose 85% of the revenue for something that's in 2% of the video. Even if I used the whole song, it's still only 13% of the video. How does that make any sense? No film or TV show works like this. If you license a song, you don't pay the copyright owner 70 to 85% of the earnings from the show just for using a song. The most that should ever happen is a 50-50 split, and even then, only when the song is used for the bulk of the video. If you use a snippet of a song, whatever percentage of the video that it appears in is what percentage of the revenue the copyright owner should get. On this one, it does seem like YouTube talked to the record labels because it feels like getting dry fucked by a grimy prick. They're really not making this easy for anyone, and I don't know why. The simplest solution would be to let people buy a license to use a song for a video, buy an annual or perpetual license, or to share the revenue of the video based on how much of the song appears in the video. There shouldn't be these weird tiers where lesser known musicians get jacked, and definitely not an option where the copyright owners can literally profit off someone else's work because they use 5 seconds of a song. I can't figure out YouTube's angle on this because neither of these really seem to benefit YouTube. Both of them are going to piss people off. I'm interested to know what people think about this. Do any of these seem fair to you? Do you think YouTube is just trying to hand wave the problem? For anyone with channels, would you use any of these? I like the idea of tiered levels, but until it's clear how it works, I wouldn't want to use it, especially since there's nothing preventing a label from coming in to spit roast you just because they can. But what do I know? I'm just some guy.